I'm about to do something that goes against every fiber of my being. But trigger warning. There is a trigger warning to this video. This video will contain both moral and intellectual consistency. And if you're a human being on planet Earth, this might be jarring and emotionally disturbing to you. So if you can't handle that, turn this off, flick on CNN or CBC, or just follow politicians on Twitter. But I'll give you a minute to sort of collect yourself before I make the argument that I actually support all the protests that have gone on in Toronto because they've been peaceful so far. So, back a while ago, I was saying we needed to end the lockdown because we're at the point, it's May, it's now June, right? The weather is nice. We have to understand the risks that, hey, coronavirus is going to be a second bump. And if I made the arguments, if it's a cytokine reaction or if it's a respiratory failure, either way you look at it, now's the optimal time to sort of fight the battle. We have the high ground now. This is when we do it. And, people are going crazy. There's an emotional cost. There's a mental health cost. Even Dr. Theresa Tam was talking today, like, there's unforeseen consequences of the lockdown on the illicit drug market. People are dying of pharmacies. Like, oh, no doubt. Okay. Time to end this. Start the process to ending it. Now, there's a Trinity Bellwood scandal in Toronto where a bunch of people went to a park. I don't have a problem with this. If you're under 40, you should be outside right now. If there was 20,000 people inside the Eden Center, the mall there, then we can have problems. 20,000 people. But if you're outside and you're under 40, the risks of contraction are super low. Like, unless you're living with your grandmother, your grandfather, it's fine to be outside. Now, people are protesting in the lockdown. Now, some people did stupid things during those protests. I think there were videos of people licking a John A. Macdonald statue in Canada. I don't know where that was, but that's idiotic. That's what Iran was doing, licking the shrines, okay? This isn't Iranida, right? No statue licking, okay? That's crazy. That's stupid. But the underlying message of it's time to end the lockdowns because something bad's going to happen. And to a large part, I sort of put a significant amount of these riots on the fact that people have been quarantined for so long. There's a bit of stir crazy. There's a bit of a overreaction, a release, right? I don't think there would be riots in Philadelphia if something happened in Minneapolis, had people not been locked in their homes for so long. Now, I'm not saying all the quarantine was illegitimate, right? For the first month, I was on it, flatten the curve. Coronavirus is real. We didn't know, right? But now we know death rate is not 2%, it's not 3.5%. It's right, 0.6%, scales towards age. So there was a Toronto protest, right? It was it was Black Lives Matter based, but justice for Regis. There was a black man killed by police. Okay, police brutality bad. Now we can disagree. Is all police brutality because of race? No. Is some of it? Yes. Is racism as bad as the Black Lives Matter activists say it is? Probably not. Is it as negligible as like Trump supporters say it is? Probably not. Right? Does perception breed reality in a lot of cases? Most likely. Okay, we could come to a consensus here. But the protests in Toronto, right? People marching, right? If you're under 40, you're outside. I actually think it was a good thing. I think this protest was a good thing. I think it might have helped people's mental health. It was probably good for people to get out together and see other human beings. We're social creatures. I think it did some good. Now, if I went up to those protesters and we started talking about tax rates, right, instead of like police brutality, where it's like, yeah, police brutality bad. And then like, yeah, we need to get the rich and increase taxes on the rich. And I was like, well, these tax brackets you're suggesting, here's how it would actually benefit major corporations and actually make you poorer. And then we'd get into a fight because they wouldn't want to hear it. Right. So we probably disagree on a lot of things there. But in terms of going out to protest, police brutality, standing up for people's lives, it's probably good for the family to see that. It's probably good for the people out there to be around other humans. I think it blows off a bit of steam. It probably bounced a lot of people's mental health significantly to be around other people. No one was hurt in Toronto. Proud of the city. Good job. Fine with it. Now, it's not Montreal where they're burning down the city. In Quebec, come on. Why is Montreal on fire? Why? Give me one good reason. Give me one good reason why we need to loot Steve's Music Store, a small business, and steal a bunch of guitars. A black man dies in Minnesota. Tragic. Shouldn't have happened. Police brutality is bad. Why does a small business owner in Montreal need to get his guitar stolen? Why? Explain that one to me. Explain to me. Right? Ugh. So, I'm going to recap. It's good. It's good that people are outside. It's good that people are outside. It's good that people saw other human beings. Our politics are probably different, but I'm going to support that. right? And I hope the politicians sort of support that. But the dangerous thing here is you're being exposed to some intellectual consistency right here. And we can't have that in Canada. Because we have Captain Blackface, who in his 20s painted himself black, stuck a banana in his pants, and sung the Deo song on stage as is one of 3 blackface incidents we know about from Captain Blackface, who then calls everyone racist. Right? Then we have Catherine McKenna, who just months ago was calling Derek Sloan racist because he disagreed with Dr. Theresa Tam, which said everyone must stay inside. Right? And everyone who was outside, we were talking about, they hated Dr. Theresa Tam. They disagreed with her. Well, this is underhanded racism of the right because they're disagreeing with a Chinese woman. However, when it's a bunch of people going out to protest now, which again, I don't have a problem with the Toronto protests. I don't think, but by the Liberals' logic, circa 2 weeks ago, by the logic of Justin Trudeau, Ahmed Hussein, and Catherine McKenna, who were all supporting these protests, by their logic, circa 2 weeks ago, the Black Lives Matter protests are racist because they're disagreeing with a Chinese woman. Now, I don't think the Black Lives Matter protests are racist because they're ignoring Dr. Theresa Tam's advice. I think that's ridiculous. But I think that it's pretty clear that the intellectual consistency is not there from our leadership. It's not there from our media. It's not there from, 99% of the population right now speaking out on the internet. Or anyone with a blue check mark on Twitter is probably you can contrast 2 tweets they made within the last 2 weeks and polar opposites. So again, peaceful protesting is fine. It's time to end these lockdowns. People need to see other people. People need a mental health boost. If we keep people locked down, there are no cases in the territories in Canada. There are no deaths right now in the east coast of Canada. We need to open up the east coast, the maritime provinces, and the territories, right? Start opening them up. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, barely any cases. Start opening them up. Northern Ontario, parts of rural Quebec, parts of Alberta, parts of BC, let's talk about it. I'm okay if we take things slow in Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, Edmonton, major cities. I'm fine with that. But people are going crazy. People are going absolutely crazy because human beings are not meant to be socially isolated for months on end. This is the punishment that they give prisoners. When murderers need to be punished, when we need to punish murderers even more, we put them in social isolation because it tortures human beings. We can't go on like that. There's a cost-benefit analysis. And I've done it from the illness side, and we're doing it from the mental health side, and now you're starting to see some of the mental health side effects come out as cities are literally burning. So go outside. If you want to protest peacefully, go do that. You want to go to a park? Go for a walk. Talk to a friend. Meet him on his porch, her porch, their porch, Zer's porch. I don't care. Make up new pronouns. Text them over to me. Who cares? But I think it's time to realize that for many different reasons, we need to sort of expedite the opening up of society because everyone is going crazy.